What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another Bad Call, the podcast that proves the refs aren't the only ones who get it wrong. It is Monday, October 21st, and I am super distracted by the two different games, two different networks all over the place. My brain is scattered as well. How about you? How you doing tonight, buddy?
Yeah, I'm kind of in bye-week mode myself.
Yeah,
Here,
100%.
we're just coming in from basketball practice, and you got my brain running different directions there, and you got football and trying to check any bets that I had out there, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel you between that and the depression of more injuries across fantasy rosters.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I'm having a real hard time even just staying awake instead of just curling up in a ball and crying myself to sleep over some of these fantasy scores.
This year has definitely been it seems like there's been an inordinate amount of injury across all of football.
Yeah, big names too. I mean, just losing more players yesterday. Ayuk out for the season. Debo's hospitalized. We were just talking about that. Sounds like fluid in his lungs. Deshaun goes down. I mean, that doesn't, Deshaun Watson, not really fantasy related, but still, it's another starting QB down. Like, Tyreek Hill just feels like he's been injured, but that's because he's had no quarterback to throw him the ball. I saw you yesterday. That was hard for me to watch the 2 targets to your number 1 receiver. Jaden Daniels gets knocked out of a game. Mike Evans gets knocked out of this game. Just brutal. Absolutely brutal. But let's get back into bye week mode. Bears are on a bye this week, right?
That's right.
They didn't play, which was nice because we had plans this weekend. So it made it a little bit easier to commit to those plans without a Bears game going on. 4-2 going into the bye. We have 3, I'm not going to call them softball games, coming up before we hit a very tough stretch of 8 games.
3 very winnable games coming up.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Winnable games. How you feeling about it right now? How are you feeling about our 4-2 squad?
I got to tell you, I've been looking at some of the numbers, the analytics of performance for Caleb, coming with the vibes of the 3 straight wins here, and his performance as it's been on an upward trend. Feel pretty good. Get healthy here, get rested up, come into a stretch where I could very easily see them winning 3 more straight. Then we're 7-2, starting to look at division games. So
yeah,
especially Commanders, if they don't, Jaden Daniels banged up, and to be honest, I wasn't too scared of the Commanders anyway. Not that I'm saying it's an easy win, but just that team hasn't faced any good defenses yet. So
sorry, I'm scrolling through. I sent you guys a couple stats the other day, and there it is. Took me a minute. Yeah, watch it. We'll go back to Caleb Williams and the progression that he's shown. So his weekly rank across the NFL for EPA. Week 1, he's 26th, 30th in week 2, 21st in week 3, 15th in week 4. Then he goes 3rd and 2nd and 5 and 6. Right. So the progression is there, right? Getting better basically every single week. Same thing with his CPOE, or his completion percentage over expected. He goes 32nd, 22nd, 20th, 5th, 12th, and 2nd again. Had a really good week in that last game. So really, really showing the progression that you want to see out of your rookie quarterback, which means the offensive line is starting to maybe come together a little bit. We'll see what happens with what Bates coming back, right? Do they plug him in, and does it actually, make the line better? it yet to be seen. We've got something going. You never know how that can mess with the chemistry, but going up against these next three opponents, like you said, we've got Washington, we've got Arizona, we've got New England before we hit the, we'll just call it the divisional round, because that's basically what those last 8 games are. They are very winnable games. Very winnable games.
Absolutely. Bottom 5 defenses, all 3 of them. I didn't really check after this weekend if they're still in that, but going into this week, they were like 27th through 29th, those 3 teams.
So I've got it in front of me. Washington is allowing an average of 21.7 points per game. Arizona 27.2, and New England 25 points a game. The Bears coincidentally are scoring an average of like 24.7. But you had 2 low weeks, so
yeah,
definitely have a shot at that. And really, if you look at, like, New England is averaging 14.1 points scored, Arizona 22.2. Washington's the only one that's kind of concerning at like a 31.1. But again, like you said, they haven't really played a real tough defense, and we are getting a beat up Jaden Daniels. Even if he plays, he's dealing with a rib injury. A couple hits, who knows? He's not going to be in a big hurry to take some of those shots.
Yep.
So definitely 3 winnable ones. I don't think they're going to be like a cakewalk. I don't want to get into like a trap game scenario, because we've seen that before. But they are not only winnable games, but I think they're must-win games for sure.
I think so. If you really want to be serious about playoff contention, then I think that's you need to knock these off.
Yeah. So if they win those 3, we're sitting at 7-2 going into those the last 8 games, and obviously that's our divisional round. As we said, you've got all of our divisional games, so that's 6 divisional games right there against what is just a ridiculous division right now. And then you add in a San Francisco and a Seattle. San Francisco, they're not the same team that we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. Obviously, they've had to deal with a lot of injuries, and it's definitely affected their play. And they've played some tough opponents too, so some of that goes into it. But Seattle has looked really good, really good. Minus, I think,
was surprised by
one
them
game
this weekend. This past weekend, I was surprised how well they played.
And as long as DK doesn't miss any significant time, that team's just going to keep getting better as they get more and more used to that offense. So that game could be tough. So I'm looking at it, at least 7 out of those last 8 games they're going to be tough. They're going to be real tough. I mean, obviously you got Detroit and Minnesota both at 5-1, and now Green Bay at 5-2. So let's what do you say we run down that, and we just we run down the schedule and make our picks.
Okay, let's do it.
Do you want to go ahead and say we're just going to assume that they win the next 3? Like that's how we'll run it. Let's start from there, and we'll say they're going to get those 3.
Okay, yes.
That's a pretty big assumption, but they're 7-2 going into week 11. Green Bay
at home.
Yes. How we feeling about that one?
I heard some rumors that might end up getting a Sunday night flex, because at the time I'd have to look it up, but it's the Jets against another lowly team currently lined up for that. But I think we beat the Packers at home. That's my prediction. I don't like Jordan Love he's loose with the ball. He gets lucky. He's turning the ball over quite a bit. I think what I see, he's got 8 interceptions in his last 4 games or something like that. I mean, they've done some big things also, but you just got to make them pay when they turn the ball over.
Yeah, I'm looking at Green Bay's opponent list so far, and weeks 1 and 2, you got to kind of throw some stuff out. But they had the Eagles in Brazil, where Love goes down late in the game. Colts, Titans, Vikings, Rams, Cardinals, and Texans. So maybe 2 of those games are tough games, right? Tough opponents anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that there's now. Don't get me wrong. On the Bears side of it, their 4-2 isn't exactly against world beaters either.
No.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's why it's easy for us to look at it and go, okay, they've got a shot in this game, right?
Yeah. No, I don't think they're going to lose all 6 of their divisional games.
No. The home advantage is where I would give them. If they're going to win one, it's going to if they're going to win one against Green Bay, it's going to be this one first, right? And if you can win this one, the amount of momentum that puts behind you, 4 in a row coming out of your bye, and you win your first divisional game is massive.
Yeah.
Massive, because that also should put you ahead of Green Bay in the standings as well.
Correct. You also have the advantage of all of the other 3 teams will have played each other prior to us getting into any of those games. So you have, tape on those teams that you can prepare for. So.
Yeah. And, if the Lions hangover is a real thing, I don't know how bye weeks play into that, but the Packers play the Lions, then have a bye before the Bears game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you take that. I mean, I don't know exactly how it's going to play out, but I'm thinking we might split. I think we're a good enough team to split our divisional games. But that means either beating one of the teams twice or splitting with each one.
Yeah, I'm not as optimistic with you there. I can see a split with Green Bay. I can see a split with Minnesota. Right now, I don't see a split with Detroit. They are just a different class of team right now. In my opinion.
But they don't always play. Not every team always plays at the high level.
And the Bears have, even back to last year, have played Detroit very hard.
Oh,
Detroit
for years.
Goff struggles with the Bears.
Yeah.
So there is that obviously to it. But okay, so let's go at it. So we have Green Bay as a win. Minnesota's next. That is also a home game.
Right. Yeah, I know. Now, am I really predicting us rattling off 7 wins in a row? But the Vikings did look a little bit fallible this weekend. Though they did battle tough. Detroit made a lot of mistakes in that game against them and still came out on top.
Yep.
All right, screw it. I'll say win there and then lose on Thanksgiving to the Lions.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that same spot. Just because we've talked about 3 wins going into Green Bay, the Green Bay game at home. We win that one. That's the momentum's just on your side. You're feeling like world beaters, and you just keep rolling into that Minnesota game before we do get that loss at Detroit in week 13. And then after Detroit, so what are we at now? What did we say? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So we're now, what are we, 9-3?
That, yeah.
5, 6, 7,
we're past
8, 9, and 3. Woo.
We're past what you were saying. But
yeah, I may struggle with that 9 and 8. Although, so here we go. Once we go to at Detroit, You lose on Thanksgiving, then you go to San Francisco.
You're at San Francisco, who
Yep.
is banged up, and you're coming off of a mini bye, so you've got 10 days to prep for them.
Fair.
So, are they for sure going to win? I don't know, but I could easily see them winning that game.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with a loss at that one.
Okay.
It's just something about going out to San Francisco. That'll give them plenty of time to figure out their receiver situation and assumingly get McCaffrey back. That might just be a tough one.
I don't know. I still think they're playing a lot of games with that. And if they're struggling as much as they are they going to even rush to try to get him back?
That's a very valid point. Very valid point. But all right, so I've got them at 9-4 at that point. You've got them at 10-3.
And then I got a loss.
Then we go at Minnesota.
I'm going to say loss.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, so you're 10-4. I'm 9-5. Detroit at home. So Detroit comes to Chicago. This is the one I already said. I don't think they split with Detroit. So I'm going to call that a loss as well.
I'll take that one as a loss too.
All right. So I am at 9-6 right there. You are at 10-5.
Then they have the Seahawks at home on a short week, Thursday night, and I'm gonna pick that as a win for the Bears.
I will take that one as a win as well, which I know will take me off of my 9-8, but I will take that one as a win as well. And then I've got them, like I said, I split with Green Bay, so I'm going to call that one a loss in Lambeau.
And I'm going to not pick that game right now. And I'm going to tell you why, because I've had now since we started to see some actual progression. We got into the season. Those first few games, it's hard to tell a whole lot. Like, you're still coming together. You're still like. Then we start seeing the rise of Caleb's game, and I'm not going to say it's going to keep at that same steep, incline, but I think we still got a lot more that we will see from him. And what I've been having this weird feeling in my gut that last game of the season is going to end up being the Bears versus the Packers for the last playoff spot, which both scares the shit out of me and really excites me too.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what you want. You want your team to have a shot at it, right? And from a story standpoint, it doesn't get much better than, all right, this is it. This is your game to get in, and it's against a team that you just historically have been bad against for a long time, and it's your final game of the regular season with your rookie QB. Go get it done, right? I mean, the story writes itself,
right? And if you're ever going to start changing the narrative with is this guy finally our quarterback, then
Sorry, Marvin Harrison just got tackled funky, and I was like, ew.
Well,
but he good. It was one of those tackles where for like over 40-year-olds like us, like we won't walk for a month and a half, but he's totally fine.
Oh, like getting out of bed on the
sneezing.
Yeah.
All right, so I originally had said 9-8. I think the walkthrough that we just did right there was 10-7 for me. You didn't. You're a DNF because you did not pick your last game. Oh, son of a. Sorry. Fantasy implications happening out of the peripheral of my eye. Like, I had a guy beat despite the fact that I lost Jaden Daniels and Juju yesterday with a combined total of 5 points. But he had Kyler Murray, and he just rushed for a 44-yard touchdown. So that probably just went away.
I
Biscuits.
I need Baker to scramble for 3 more yards. That's what
Yeah.
I need.
Interesting. All right. Well, anything else you want to add on the
I had
Bears?
over on his rushing line at 12.5. Oh,
Okay.
He could have taken off right there. Oh
well. One other thing I want to talk about with the Bears, but before we get moving on, if you got other stuff you want to add to it, that's fine. But one thing I want to do is, so we're approaching the trade deadline. There was rumors about Khalil Herbert. Vikings had called. Well, not rumors. I guess it's confirmed. The Vikings had called on Khalil Herbert, and Poles was like, "Yeah, give me a 5th round pick." And the Vikings was like, never mind. We'll go get Cam Akers. First of all, good job, Poles. Don't just hand over a quality back to a division rival. Do you think Herbert gets moved by the trade deadline? That's A. And B, if that does or does not happen, is there another trade that you would like to see at this point in time? Realistic one. Don't come out like realistic.
There's so much wrapped up in that. Well, first of all, do I think they trade Herbert? If the right deal comes along, I don't see it as an issue. Assuming the health of the other guys, because you've seen the last 2 weeks, Herbert has not been part of the game plan.
Yep.
There were rumors out there that people have been calling on Nate Davis. And I say, if somebody's willing to take that lump of lard off your hands for a bag of peanuts, you take the peanuts and run.
What if you have to pay a portion of a salary?
Okay.
Yeah. You're
already paying
anyway,
a
right?
salary anyway.
Yep.
So,
man, that's not Bucky Irving. Gosh, I gotta stop watching these games because it's just ticking me off at this point.
Well,
all right. So we would love to see Nate Davis. Well,
I mean, he's not playing right now, which is a good thing, because when he has been in the games this year, he's done the ole and let the bull through. So, the other rumors that are out there that I don't know if I should pay any sort of mind to, but ever since the Raiders traded away Devontae Adams, everyone's they're going to trade away Max Crosby. I don't really see that happening. And I don't see the Bears paying what that would cost for Max Crosby, because you're talking about a Khalil Mack type deal.
Right.
And I don't think we're in that position right now. Now, today I've seen some, I don't know, more clamoring or chatter that maybe Myles Garrett might be somebody that Poles has been inquiring about. It's interesting.
I've seen all the Myles Garrett stuff too. The Max Crosby stuff. Here's where I'm at. Go get Brandon Scherf from the Jags. Go get me another, O lineman from the Browns. Let's sure up that line. Let's continue to do that. The defense has been playing well despite injury. Let's go ahead. We've put almost all of our chips on our offense at this point in time, except for at the line. We had an opportunity to go get Connor Williams in the offseason. We didn't do it. Go get another lineman, a solid lineman that we know is going to do their job and has been healthy. And let's really shore up that line. And let's see what can happen now. That's what I want to see. I'm fine with trading Herbert. He's been fine for us, but we're not using him. Move him. Same thing with Nate Davis. Move him. If we're not using him and we're going to pay him anyway, move him. Try to get something back for him. Get a 6th round pick or whatever you're going to get from him. As you said, a bag of peanuts, whatever it is. But let's go do something on the offensive line. Let's upgrade that if we can. Well, it's really nice to do the pipe dream of a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett. You know, we've been down that road before. Our defense has been playing fine. Let's hit that offensive line.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I actually feel like this is a year where we're not buying at the deadline. We're just gonna go with what we got and really try to get ourselves into the conversation of real contenders next year, because that's where everything's been heading thus far. But you know, Poles, he's been active at the trade deadline every year, so we'll see what
Yep, and he's got an extra second round pick. You know, he likes to deal them second rounders, so we'll yowzers. All right. We'll see what happens there. All right, man. Anything else on the Bears before we roll into our Tales of a Degenerate?
No, that I think that about does it for this bye week.
All right, buddy. Let's go ahead and talk about. I don't want to talk about my gambling woes, so let's talk about yours.
All right. Well, yeah, I was feeling pretty good about my picks coming into this week, and woof, ended up my super contest picks. I had the Falcons minus 2.5, the Packers minus 3, the Lions plus 1.5, the Eagles minus 3, and the Rams minus 6.5. And what did I tell you was going to happen in the Packers game?
Yep. The Packers kick field goal and you miss. Yeah.
They get the field goal to win by 2, so I miss on that one. The Lions game, that one I felt good about, and it came through, and the Eagles walked the Giants pretty easily. The Rams game, Antonio Pierce should be fired. What the hell is that guy?
The Eagles didn't walk the Giants. They ran the Giants. Saquon Barkley was just like, hey, remember me? I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah. So the Rams one kind of ticks me off because I had it, and Vegas it's 4th and 9 on 4th and goal from the 9-yard line with 2.5 minutes left, and Antonio Pierce kicks the ball. Like, come on. You gotta go for it there. What do you have to lose anyway? That's the right. You're down there. I think that's the right move to go for it there. Regardless, I lose that one. The Falcons one, the Seahawks killed the Falcons, but I got to tell you, my thought on that game was it was an early game. Seattle was flying all the way east. Those teams that fly cross country from the West Coast, early game starts are typically not very good, but they showed out. So kudos to them this week.
Yep.
Anyway, 2 and 3. What are you gonna say? I'm right at 18 and 17. So like on the year.
Over 500?
Yeah, over 500. Still losing on the VIG, but whatever. For the score, I got James Cook and Jahmyr Gibbs both hit, and I missed on Malik Neighbors and Jaden Reed. So 2 out of 4,
Yeah, in fairness, Malik Neighbors and Jaden Reed were misses by just about everybody. So
yeah, I mean, Jaden Reed had like 1 catch, and
yep.
Malik Neighbors
didn't have much more. So
Neighbors had more, but he was doomed from
bottled.
He was bottled up. So
all right, man.
Other than that, I mean, still nothing. No, I wasn't a major loser overall, but I wasn't. I was not up.
Meh.
Yeah. No. I am a major loser. My gambling was not a major loser.
All right. Well, that's different. Yeah. That's different. All right. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm not going to get into my frustration. A lot of near misses has continued for me for the year. But All right, let's get into our bad calls here. I just let you talk about your tales of degenerate, so I will go first. And this one's going to be very on point and timely. I've talked about this before as a thing that pisses me off a little bit. All these Monday night double headers, I haven't really enjoyed because they're supposed to be island games that you can really watch and pay attention to, and that's why I love these those night games, those island games, because you can really watch and get in depth on things. And when you bring in two games and you don't have something like Red Zone to be able to just flip back and forth really easy, or the multi-view that you have with YouTube TV and the direct tick and all that stuff, it makes it really hard to watch these games. And now we have a double header where one of them is on ESPN Plus, so it's not just on a separate channel. You're on a completely different network or app. We'll put it that way. We're on a completely different app. So what I've been doing earlier pre-recording was I've got half of a monitor with the Bucks Ravens, and I've got another half of the monitor with the Cardinals Chargers, and then my other monitor I was doing NFL stats with, just checking some stuff out. Then you get to record, and I can't watch either one of them. I'm just catching little bits and pieces everywhere. Listen, I get the money grab, but if you want to do this, as we've talked about before, put one earlier and one later, and maybe have a quarter of crossover time, maybe. But this having 3/4 of a game where they're overlapped and you got to go, I don't like it. I just don't like it. So NFL, I think this is a bad call on you. You're not treating your fans right. It's bad enough that you have to have 17 different app subscriptions or streaming service subscriptions to check all of your games out at this point in time. But now that you're overlapping the games and making people choose that way, I don't like it. I think it's bad.
Yeah, I can't disagree. And I didn't have the chance to sit here and watch tonight because of basketball practice, but it doesn't make sense. The ESPN Plus thing. I didn't try to see you're having to watch on a computer, basically one of them. If you want to watch, not everybody is blessed with multiple screens that you could cast to or whatnot, and you're making it difficult to consume the game, and these are the kind of things that turn. I mean, does it stop us from watching? No, but we're not happy, and maybe we choose down the line not to pay for some of this and just go about our business doing other things because.
Yeah, I mean, you just said it. The line, you're making it difficult to consume the game. So you, as the NFL, are putting out a product that you want consumers to consume, and if you make it difficult for that to happen, eventually that's gonna come back to bite you a little bit. I mean, do they really care if 5 of us go, screw you, we're not doing it? Because they're huge corporation. But it's just a bad look if you want people to consume your product and then you make it difficult for that to happen.
Well, there's a generation of fans that may not even have the wherewithal to figure it out, right? So
that is possible.
I mean, it's gonna hurt you in some ways. It's just, I don't know. I get real bitter, when you buy the ticket. Like I should just get all the games on the same app. I shouldn't have to pay for all the extra ones.
100%. I could not agree with you more on that one. But anyway, that's my bad call of the week. That one goes straight to the NFL.
Yep. All right. Well, my bad call of the week, and this one kind of pains me, and it just kind of makes me a little bit sad, actually. The Dolphins today announced that they're designating Tua Tagovailoa to return from IR, which good for him, I think. The word is out that he got all kinds of opinions, and they told him he did not need to retire. But what's really making me little bit sad about this is that Tua, when asked if he would wear a Guardian cap, was very flippant about it and said, "No, that's a personal choice for me. I'm not going to wear that." And and then further they asked him, will you change your style of play or anything like that? And he kind of sidestepped the question a little bit, but he did say, "I'm not going to play scared." That's all well and good, but Tua, you got these devices out there that you could wear on your helmet that's not going to change the way you play the game, but it might just prevent your family from having to see you uh, convulsing on the ground with your hands twitching in front of your face, and kids at home watching, being like, what is going on with this guy? Like, we've already seen it multiple times.
Yep.
So, I mean, even if you would have said, "Yeah, I'm going to wear it just for the rest of this season because I just had this brain injury," be a leader, be an example to, yes, I can play, but I can take some precaution, maybe save myself from being a walking vegetable at some point going forward, because we've seen it. He does, in the moment, he doesn't make the right choice to slide multiple times, goes head first, and ends up where we're afraid if the guy's going to be able to walk again.
Yeah, it's going to make it really nerve-wracking to watch. This kind of goes back to one of our earlier episodes. We played a game basically where I posed a question, and one of those questions was, or I guess notions, was that the Guardian cap will be mandatory in some fashion in the NFL next year. And I personally, I said yes. I think it will be, especially if the data shows that it helps with the prevention and that sort of thing. And I kind of think along these lines is that maybe the NFL should be stepping in and saying, "Listen, if you've had a concussion, you're at least like next 3 games back, you have to wear it." Like,
Yeah, something like that. Maybe that I could see that. Yeah, if you're part of the protocol is you've cleared all the steps. All right, you've cleared the steps. You can come on the field, but you gotta wear a cap for X amount.
And I mean, there's been plenty of players that have been
days.
wearing it this year, and you'll get used to it. Like, I've shared the memes out of Darth Helmet from Spaceballs and whatnot, or the old NFL street games where the heads are really huge or whatever, as a joke, but they're not really that bad. And once you get going, sometimes you lose track of it, honestly.
Right.
And if it works, player safety right there. That should be something the NFL and the NFLPA are working towards, especially in this situation where it really is. You almost have to protect the player. Now, obviously, he's a grown ass man, right? He's gotten that. He's talked to his family, whatever. I don't believe for a second the Dolphins are forcing him back into this situation. That's just what it. But sometimes you have to protect somebody from themselves, and I think this is a perfect instance where the NFL and the NFLPA should be saying, "Hey, you're going to come back. That's great. We applaud you. It's a great story. Let's wear the cap for the first couple weeks, or at least the rest of the year or whatever. Let's just make sure we're good. Let's not take a risk, because that next hit, for as many concussions he's had, could be the last one."
Yeah.
And that's obviously that's not something you want to see for any case of anybody. I mean, if I'm being realistic, the NFL doesn't want that on their product. Right. So
for sure,
I'm with you. I do think that's a bad call as well, and I would love to see somebody say, "Come back, but wear the cap."
I mean,
Wear the cap.
Yeah, we're selfishly, we want to see him play. We want to see that offense be more dynamic. We want to see the Dolphins be exciting, to watch, rather than relegated to, no fun Ville with their games every week. But Yeah, it made me a little sad that he was not.
Baker
And I
just rushed for
and I
12
wasn't
yards.
one that thought that it would. I just thought he was a little too flippant about the whole situation. Which which made me think, he wasn't really thinking about his family that much.
Yeah, and you're obviously looking at it from a family man standpoint. You're a dad. You've got 3 great kids. You got a great wife. You're gonna look at it from that standpoint of like, if this was me, I'd be putting my family first, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I guess in the way it comes off from him, we don't know. These could have been week-long conversations that he's had with experts and his wife and whatnot. And so by now he's just kind of like, yeah, I'm not doing it. We've talked about it, whatever. But yeah, definitely should have been come across in a different way. And like I said, I think somebody should say, hey man, let's take a step in the right direction, not just for you, but also for the league and all player safety. Let's start moving in that direction. The only reason I can say maybe not, and I don't know this because obviously I'm not a quarterback, will the guardian cap get in the way of making certain throws? And I don't know because, my throwing motion isn't pretty by any means. And I don't know what happens if you've got a helmet that takes up your shoulder pads. Like, how much does that actually affect it? But I don't know. Might make it easier to get roughing the passer calls because you got a bigger target for hands to to hit. But you did, by the way, get your Baker Mayfield rushing yards there. He just rushed for like 11 yards or something like that to end the game.
All right.
But all right, man. Any final thoughts before we dip up out of here?
No, I think it was a good conversation today, and we'll be back at it. I'm looking forward next weekend. I don't have any plans on Sunday that I have to go run around and do. I think I get 2 weeks. 2 weeks of it
nice.
before I jump back into kid sport mode on Sundays. So
nice. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to. I have plans Saturday night. My wife is gone all day Saturday, but then I have plans Saturday night, and then Sunday is going to be a lay on the couch and recover day.
Yep.
And then I think I have one more weekend before we have family coming to visit. So we got to be prepped for that. But all right, man. Appreciate you as always. To everybody that stuck around, appreciate you more than I appreciate this guy. Because God bless you, he has to put up with me. You don't, but we appreciate you choosing to do so anyway. If you haven't done so already, please hit that like, follow, subscribe, notification bell so you know when we drop new episodes. Make sure you comment down. Did we make good predictions? Do you agree with our bad calls? What was your bad call of the week? Let us know. We'd love to hear your side of things. And until next time, try to avoid making another bad call.